Flight anxiety. A fearful flyer finds solace. In-flight movie as a distraction. By Elham Ghoreishi. The airport notice board shows that the Tehran-Frankfurt flight is calling. I arrange my scarf and head to board the plane. I am very excited for this trip. Finally, our immigration to Germany is settled, and now I am joining my husband. The plane takes off, and the lights inside dim. I am still scared. I look outside. Tehran is so beautiful and bright from above. I go to the screen in front of the chair. Well, what should I see now? I am reviewing the list of movies on the screen. Here they are classified according to their genre. Definitely, the horror genre is not the best option. It is true that most people make this mistake, but it is really stupid. What's wrong, you ask? This is when people take refuge in another scary thing out of fear of one thing. Watching a horror movie later has its own advantages. For example, getting together with a group of cool friends for a weekend and watching it together on a big screen. Guessing the next scary scenes and screaming when scared. Laughing at each other's reactions. Beer and pistachios are also essential. Anyway, it's not a good time or a good place to watch a horror movie. I touch my stomach. This little one is going to grow up in peace. As the plane cruises through the night sky, I can't help but dwell on the bittersweet journey I'm embarking upon. The cabin is dimly lit, and the hum of the engines provides a soothing backdrop to my thoughts. Leaving behind my homeland, with its rich culture and traditions, is a heavy burden to bear. Iran's history, its poetry, and the warmth of its people are ingrained in my very being. But it's precisely because of this deep connection that I've chosen this path. My husband and I have made sacrifices to secure a better future for our family. The memory of the day we made this decision still lingers vividly in my mind. We sat in our modest Tehran apartment, surrounded by stacks of paperwork and endless bureaucracy. The weight of uncertainty hung in the air, but our determination to provide our children with the freedom to choose their own paths was unwavering. In Iran, our lives were intertwined with the ever-watchful gaze of authority. We wanted more for our children, for them to have the opportunity to learn, grow, and explore without fear of reprisal. Leaving behind beloved family and cherished friends was an agonizing choice, but it was made in the hope of offering our children a brighter future. Now, as I sit in this airplane, I can't help but wonder about the new world that awaits us in Germany. It's a land of opportunity, where diversity is embraced and individuality is celebrated. But it's also a place that will be foreign to us in so many ways, a place where we'll have to build a new life from the ground up. I glance out of the window at the twinkling lights of the cities below. The vast expanse of darkness between each urban center serves as a metaphor for the unknown journey that lies ahead. My heart aches for the life we're leaving behind, but it also beats with hope for the possibilities that await us. The plane gently tilts as it continues its course toward Frankfurt, and I can't help but think of my husband, waiting for me with open arms. He has been my anchor throughout this tumultuous journey, and it's the thought of our reunion that keeps me going. Though sadness fills my heart, I know that the sacrifices we've made are for a brighter tomorrow. Our children will grow up in a land where they can be the authors of their own stories, where they can dream without limits, and where they can embrace the world with open arms. As the plane carries me toward my new life, I take a deep breath, finding solace in the knowledge that our pursuit of freedom and opportunity will be the foundation upon which our family's future will be built. I go back to the screen and skip the drama folder. I reach the genre of crime thriller. This is my favorite genre. I have a playful brain. It thinks a lot and goes out. I think fast. Such movies force people's brains to guess and solve riddles. I love this job. I open the folder and start checking the videos one by one. However, as I scroll through the titles, I quickly realize that I've seen all of them, or the trailers don't quite pique my interest. It's a bit disappointing not to find a new crime thriller to watch, but I know there's always a risk when you're already familiar with the genre. Finding something truly captivating can be a challenge. I lean back in my seat and contemplate my options. Glancing around the cabin, I notice my fellow passengers engrossed in their own activities. Some are reading books, others are catching up on work, and a few are engaged in lively conversations. It's a diverse group of people, each with their own story and purpose for this journey. With a resigned smile, I decide to explore the airline's selection of documentaries. It's a departure from the suspense and intrigue of crime. Thrillers, but perhaps I'll stumble upon a captivating story from the real world. After all, there's often nothing more fascinating than the truth. I navigate to the documentary folder and begin scrolling through the titles. As I read the descriptions and watch the trailers, I feel a sense of curiosity and anticipation building within me. Maybe, just maybe, I'll find a documentary that will not only pass the time, but also offer a new perspective on the world. As the lights inside the plane are turned on, and the flight attendants start serving food and drinks, a wave of hunger washes over me. The aroma of the in-flight meal is surprisingly appetizing, even though I've heard about how high altitude can dull one's sense of taste. Nevertheless, I dig into the meal with gusto, savoring each bite. Somehow, I've always had a hearty appetite, and it seems that even the altitude can't dampen it. Perhaps it's the stress of the journey or the presence of the little one growing inside me that has me craving food. I indulge in all the dishes and desserts laid out before me, relishing every morsel. Once I've satisfied my hunger, a new urge emerges, the need to use the bathroom. I glance down the crowded plane corridor, a familiar sight during a long flight. Passengers are queued up, patiently waiting their turn. After what feels like an interminable wait, I finally see my chance. The line has dwindled slightly, and I make my way towards the restroom. The sense of relief upon entering is palpable, and I take a moment to appreciate the convenience of modern air travel. Returning to my seat, I find a new challenge awaits. The passenger in front of me has reclined his seat fully, presumably to catch some rest after his meal. This presents a significant obstacle to my movie-watching plans, as the screen is now too close to comfortably view. With determination, I tap the reclined seat gently, navigating the tight quarters to get the attention of the passenger in front of me. I explain my predicament, emphasizing my desire to enjoy the in-flight entertainment. After a brief but persuasive conversation, he kindly agrees to return his seat to its upright position. I express my gratitude, relieved that I can now watch the movie I had in mind. As I recline in my seat, I resume my search for the perfect documentary, ready to continue this journey with renewed comfort and anticipation. I chose a documentary about the beautiful and colorful world under the sea, but as soon as it starts to play, I feel like vomiting from seeing fish and corals. The vivid images on the screen trigger an unexpected wave of nausea, and the smell of the ocean seems to flood my senses. I desperately reach for the vomit bag, trying to control the discomfort. The act of retching has attracted the attention of nearby passengers, and I can feel their concerned glances on me. My cheeks flush with embarrassment as I quickly wipe my mouth with a tissue, hoping to hide my discomfort. I close my eyes for a moment, not wanting to meet the curious gazes of those around me. These damn pregnancy hormones, I think to myself, struggling to regain my composure. It's not the first time they've caused unexpected and inconvenient reactions. I take a deep breath, trying to settle my stomach and clear my mind. Once the nausea subsides, I cautiously open my eyes, relieved that the worst seems to be over. I realize that perhaps a documentary about the deep sea wasn't the best choice for someone with an easily upset stomach. I continue watching the stand-up comedy for a while longer, despite the challenges posed by the comedian's thick accent. However, the delay in understanding the humor becomes increasingly frustrating. It feels like I'm always a few seconds behind, realizing I should have laughed after the audience has moved on to the next joke. In annoyance, I decide to stop watching. It's becoming clear that this particular show isn't enjoyable given the language barrier, and there's no point in forcing myself to endure it. As I shift my attention away from the screen, I notice a small child a few seats ahead, crying in his mother's arms. The sight tugs at my heartstrings, and I can't help but wonder about motherhood. It's a topic that has been on my mind more frequently lately. The journey I'm on, leaving behind my homeland and the life I've known, is not just about seeking better opportunities. It's also about preparing for the arrival of a new member in our family. The thought of becoming a mother is both exciting and daunting. I contemplate the responsibility and love that comes with parenthood. Am I truly ready for this new chapter in my life? It's a question that lingers in the back of my mind as I watch the mother comfort her crying child. The uncertainty of the future, the challenges of immigration, and the impending arrival of our baby all weigh heavily on me. But as I look at the mother and child, I can't help but feel a glimmer of hope and excitement for the journey ahead, with all its joys and uncertainties. I remind myself once more to push aside thoughts of the future and its accompanying stresses. Dwelling on them won't make the journey any smoother. Instead, I decide to focus on the present moment and find a source of entertainment to pass the time. I navigate to the latest movie options available on the in-flight entertainment system. One film catches my eye, garnering positive reviews, but there's a catch. It's a shame to watch it on such a small screen, given the high cost and visual grandeur it promises. Suddenly, I notice a comedy movie. I realize I should have picked one from this folder earlier. It suits my mood today. These films may not be the best, but they're perfect for entertaining a pregnant woman on a plane heading to a new country. Without further hesitation, I choose the first comedy I see, feeling excited as I lean back in my seat. But just as I get comfortable, the screen goes dark, and the captain announces that we'll be landing in Frankfurt in a few minutes. The End. By Elham Ghoreishi. Be sure to like our content and stay tuned by subscribing.